Hi, my name is John, and welcome to my session on how to fall into a career you didn't expect or I didn't expect. So, quick background on me. I'm the Director of Solution Engineering at Andes. I have extensive background in processing, in CPU, DSPs, and application-specific processors. Prior to Andes, I spent last 30 years in processor companies like Sci-Fi, MIPS, and ARC in various roles, and I worked in consumer electronics companies like LG and HP. And yes, I'm a Trojan from University of Southern California. As of July this year, I am retired, and now I'm more of a part-time mentor and this technology. So here's when I grow up statement. Like everyone else, I had inspiration. It was the $6 million man. Um, and education-wise, as I said before, I went to USC and had a career with this full of events and questions and learning. So let's talk about my education. Like a lot of Asian American parents, my mother wanted me to be a doctor. So I naturally fell into pre-med track. But I always loved computers and processing. So I found a college major called biomedical engineering. So I set out to search colleges with this degree. And surprise, back in 1980s, it was not a popular degree. Many colleges I talked to did not have it. But luckily for me, USC had this perfect major, a double major in biomedical and electrical engineering. Hey, made my mom happy, made me happy. Life was good. Well, ultimately, I ended up in medical school, and quickly I decided it wasn't for me. Luckily, luckily, this was my first biggest failure in my life because I just could not give shots. But this led to a new career path that I didn't really thought I would be pursuing. My first 10 professional years, after medical school, I started graduate school at Cal State University, Long Beach. And then I got a job as a software optimization engineer at a small startup. And life was good. However, there was my first discontinuity. Desert Storm. Saddam Hussein decided to throw a big party, and Uncle Sam, gave me a tour to Iraqi desert. After that, I came back and got a job at Tektronix as an applications engineer, sales manager, and ultimately digital design specialist. I learned a lot about CPU design, CPU sales, and how to communicate technology with other people. I leveraged that in 95 as a position of technology sourcing specialist at LG. Okay, everyone knows LG. And it led me to consider law school. I enjoyed contracting, reading about new technologies and how to invest and make things happen. But ultimately, my decision was, hey, I'm a technologist, I'm an engineer. So I joined HP as a systems engineer and ultimately became consulting systems engineer, a technical manager role. So that was great. And then about year 2000, big internet boom happened. And I started to see my friends go to small companies, become millionaires. So 2000, I joined ARC, was a CPU IP company, pre-IPO, and I joined as FA manager, and ultimately director of solution architect. And my first almost paper millionaire event that didn't pan out. So I joined 2004. I joined Super H to be with my friends, have fun. That company didn't do so well, and then I ended up at MIPS. So 2004 was an interesting time. I worked at 3 different companies. So at MIPS, I started as a solution architect, got promoted to solution architect director, and then I was ultimately promoted to director of strategic sales. So this was my second 10 years in career where I was bouncing between, again, technology and business side. Last 10 years of my career was punctuated by a lot of time at MIPS. MIPS Part 2 was acquired by Imagination Technologies. I was back to being an FAE, and I was director of FAE. Part 3, MIPS was acquired by Wave Computing. I was the director of FAE for CPU, and I had a big life discontinuity, number 2, which was to be a dad, spend time with my family for a year, and one of the greatest decisions. Lastly, I was an FAE, back to MIPS, working probably toward the end of a career, end of a company. 2019, I joined Sci-5. It was great. I joined as FAE and became a director of FAE. And 2020, I switched to Andes Technology to grow US business for a Taiwanese company as a director of FAE. So this is how I spent the last 10 years. Ultimately, I retired in July 2022. It was time to hand the baton to next generation. But what retirement means for me is doing things that makes me happy. So I work at part-time at Andes in more of a senior mentoring role, helping next generation, both at Andes and in the engineering world. And then I'm continuing my learning. I'm installing a central air conditioner in my home. It's in progress, and I know enough to never want to do this again. What's project next is a yard work and deck at home. And then lastly, this is the most important, planning travel. I've been around the world many times for business, but not really for personal travel since honeymoon 30 years ago. So I want to travel to places I've been to that I always wanted to go back. One example is Toronto. I know how to get from airport to the Marriott in downtown to a company, AMD, and other companies in Toronto that some of them doesn't exist anymore. But I really never saw CN Tower closely or went to downtown Toronto to see what the Canadians really about. I want to do that in Canada, Asia, Africa, and Europe. So a lot of busy times for me, and I wanted to do it when I was young enough to enjoy everything. So here's my takeaway. Be flexible. Look for opportunities, not just in your field, but adjacent fields where you could leverage your expertise. But don't get stuck on titles. If I was stuck on becoming a director and VP, I might have missed a lot of opportunities to meet people and learn technologies that I didn't. Hey, you get promoted. If you're good, you will get promoted. Never stop learning. In my career, in my lifetime, my CPU technologies went from about 4 megahertz to 5,000 megahertz, more than 1,000 times faster. And that required a lot of technologies to happen to make that happen. And become an expert, okay? Be a master of one specific thing, or be a master of all trades, okay? Just like medicine, you could be a surgeon, you could be a family doctor that treats everything. Everybody's important, but you need a specialty. And not having specialty is a specialty. And don't forget the people skills. You have to communicate your technical skills to other people and be able to absorb other people's technology. And then lastly is have something you're passionate about, excited about. For me, it was CPU because it's heart of every technology. Okay, show me a technology without processor. It's the big C, central. Lastly, don't forget to have fun. Embrace life's discontinuities as opportunity to reinvent or reinvigorate. Okay. So with that in mind, let's have a word from my sponsor, which is Andes Technology. Andes is a 17-year-old pure play RISC-V CPU vendor. So we're a group of about 300 people promoting RISC-V in the world and getting very good success in mobile, IoT, storage, 5G, and AI spaces. We're doing really well. We're pushing the where RISC-V is used. Lastly, come work with us. We're hiring. Here's my email. Contact me. I would love to talk to you and meet with you and explore opportunities that's at RISC-V and Andes. Thank you.